Hello there guys, Raj here, I hope you guys are well. Today's review is on a fragrance from the house of Roja Parfums. This one is called Diaghilev. So I've been meaning to review this fragrance for a while now, and it's just taken me a bit of time to really get to know this fragrance. I used to have a couple of decants, and I've got a full bottle here. But it's definitely a complicated fragrance, so I wanted to take my time. Now I feel like I'm ready to review this fragrance, which is probably one of the most interesting, certainly the most complex, or at least one of the most complex fragrances I've tried. One of the most challenging, interesting. It's a real, it's a real, I think it's a masterpiece, I'll be honest with you. So before we get into everything, obviously let's go with the packaging. So this is the bottle here, so you can probably just about make it out. You've got the Swarovski crystals at the top, Roja Parfum down the side, and at the back you've got fragrance by Roja Dove. Made in England, it says here. So as far as Roja bottles go, I think this one really stands out. It really looks great to me. I love how the crystals here are black. Sometimes the other ones are different colors, but these ones just look great. Black and gold is always a good mix, and this bottle, even though I don't have the box, you know, on its own it looks really impressive to me anyway. It's a 100 ml size, and definitely is not a cheap fragrance. I checked the website, and the price has gone up a little bit, so you can't get away from this unbelievably high price. For 100 ml goes for £795. So there is also a 7.5 ml spray for £65, but look, it is what it is, you know. I'm just here to review the fragrance, mainly based on scent. I'll try and factor in price into my overall rating, but anyway. Notes for this fragrance, and there are a lot. Roja often puts a lot of ingredients into his fragrances, and especially in the base notes. So let's get into them. Top notes are very citrusy. Lemon, bergamot, lime, orange, tarragon. In the heart, rose de may, jasmin de Grasse, jasmine from Grasse in France. Tuberose, Ylang, heliotrope, violet, blackcurrant buds, and peach. In the base notes, there are a lot of base notes. You've got clove, cumin, nutmeg, patchouli, oakmoss, vetiver, cedarwood, guaiacwood, sandalwood, benzoin, vanilla, Peru, balsam, Orris, Styrax. There's more. Labdanum, leather, Ambrette, Ambergris, and Musk. Okay, so that's a lot of notes, and it might not, you know, really mean much to you now that I've listed them all. But I will get into the description, obviously. So performance-wise on this fragrance, performance is great. Really, really strong. You don't have to spray a lot. I would say 2 sprays, maybe max. If you're going to be outdoors a lot, you can probably get away with 3, but you're going to be noticed a lot. It is one that projects off the skin a lot. I'm getting, you know, this is pretty much like a 24-hour fragrance, almost. Pretty much on that level. You wear this in the middle, on the start of the day. You will smell this at night. Excellent performance-wise, cannot complain. In terms of occasions, well, for me this lends itself to one type of occasion and one type only, and that is formal occasions. You're talking about black tie, cocktail dresses. I think this can be worn by men and women. I will touch on that later. Definitely one of those where you're going to a special event, you're wearing like a nice suit, something like that. You just couldn't wear this casually. You wouldn't wear this to work. It's too powerful, it's too dense, probably too expensive to be wearing to work on a daily basis, and yeah, can only be reserved for special occasions, I think. Season-wise, well, for me it feels like it is more of a cool, cold weather fragrance. I think that the richness of some of these notes, the denseness and the power of this fragrance means that if you're wearing this when it's very, very hot, and I've done that before, it comes across as a little bit harsh. So if you go in cooler, colder weather, perfect. So I've mentioned the notes, mentioned the price, the bottle, seasons. It definitely is a men and women's fragrance that can be worn by both. Let's get into the note breakdown. The opening is what I would describe as a little bit bitter. It's a little bit bitter. It's not a juicy citrus. It's sharp with an undercurrent of slightly smoky leather. So if you imagine something like a Cuir de Russie from Chanel, but beefed up a little bit more stronger, a little bit more with more exotic floral notes, and that's kind of what I'm getting with this fragrance. The fragrance feels very, very classic. It feels like it could be a Guerlain fragrance, like a Mitsuko, like a maybe like a Jiki also, potentially like a Jiki. It definitely has that punch to it. It feels like it's an old fragrance, like this could be a vintage fragrance, like you find it in your attic, or you know, and you open up the bottle and it smells like nothing that is made today. It's very, very unique in my eyes. Even though I did compare it to Chanel and a Guerlain, I still feel it is very, very unique, but in that vein, you know. So you've got that bitterness and you've got that leatheriness that comes through, but you also get a kind of a strong rose note that comes through on the skin. The florals are mixed in a very exotic, dense way. Kind of think of something along the lines of maybe a Tom Ford's Black Orchid, something like that. But it's really not. It is a really amazing fragrance, I have to say. Yeah, you get a bit of a smoky birch coming through, but nothing over the top. There is still an element of refinement with this fragrance. It's not loud in a harsh way unless you spray too much. It's not over the top, and it's not a, you know, you have some fragrances that have so many ingredients and they clash. These are all, you know, blended in well together. There's a really great transition from start into the heart, and in the heart of this fragrance, and going on to the base, is where it gets a little bit interesting. You get this kind of very dark musky type accord, almost like a synthetic version of an animal musk or something like that, but softened slightly. So it's got a bit of a punch to it, a bit of a kick, but it's nothing that's going to knock you out. Yeah, the leather comes through really nicely. The bit of a spices come through in when you get your nose a little bit closer. You get a touch of a kind of spicing, cooking spices, but again, it's not something that is going to be off-putting. It's classic perfumery, but done in a kind of modern way. That's kind of how I feel with this fragrance. You know, every time I wore it, I was getting all different kinds of things, and in honesty, like, I could do this review again and mention, you know, different types of notes, because they do come out on my skin at different times. But ultimately what I'm left with is this really smooth, buttery leatheriness that mixes with the skin, almost as if you have taken the softest, smoothest of leather gloves, dipped it in this thick oil which has been infused with citrus rinds and like jasmine petals, and you've also got a touch of spice in there, some woody characteristics coming through, and you've just taken it out, you've put it on your skin, take the glove off, and that's kind of like what you're left with on your skin. It really is a masterpiece of a fragrance. It's really well made. It's very different I feel in his line. And yeah, it is quite a complex fragrance, but it's one of those that I feel is well appreciated by others around me. I did definitely get a few compliments with this, but this is one of those where, you know how you might spray on a fragrance like, you know, Bleu de Chanel from Chanel or Sauvage, and you're going to get like 10 compliments a day, kind of. This one, it doesn't have that same appeal, you know, it's not really that type of fragrance, but in a small dose, couple of sprays, can smell very, very elegant, very refined, very sophisticated, and very unique. You will stand out from the crowd. I just think wear like your favorite outfit, your best suit, your best dress with this one, your best watch, jewelry, whatever, and that will fit really nicely with that whole sort of look, basically. Roja Parfums Diaghilev, even though it comes at a super high price, it's one of those where if you have the money, just go for it. You know, you may feel this is a ridiculous price and nobody should be charging this much money for a fragrance, and I kind of see that. I do think it is, you know, at a very, very high level for no reason. Yes, I think it should demand a higher price tag, because I do perceive, you know, it to be of a higher quality. But there are other fragrances that I love in equal amounts compared to this fragrance, but cost like a fraction of it. So it's maybe hard to justify as a purchase for some people. But, you know, every now and again, you know, it's sometimes you splash out, and if you feel it's worth it, you'll love the fragrance. Definitely worth checking out for sure. Even if this is not your style, you know, even if this is not your kind of thing, maybe you prefer the more lighter, fresher type fragrances. I think if you really want to get into fragrances on a deeper level and understand what can be done, what type of notes there are out there, how they can be blended, this is one of those that I think you have to check out, really. My overall rating for this fragrance, I'm going to go with a 9 out of 10. I'm actually going to knock a mark off simply because of the price, but, you know, overall the scent for me is a 10 out of 10. I do feel it can be worn by men and women. It's one of those where I think depending on what you're wearing, depending on the skin chemistry, different facets of the fragrance or different ingredients might shine a little bit different depending on your gender, your skin type. So guys, have you smelt this fragrance? What do you think? Worth buying? Over the top price? Do you think it's a masterpiece, or do you think it's just average? You know, whatever you have to say, say it. Guys, I also have an Instagram page, so check out that page and hit the like button there, or follow me there. Check out my Facebook page also, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Bye.